Herc, how are you?
What is up, Gus? How are you?
Nice to see you.
Pound. There you go.
2 meters.
That's it. 6 feet
So,
apart.
how has this pandemic and quarantine affected your life, my friend? And has it had any effect on your business?
Yes, a lot of different effects. So one, business-wise, it has definitely affected. Sales-wise, I think every business is suffering right now. Either if the doors are not closed, then they're at least suffering some kind of loss. At this point, our last month's reports came in a 50% loss in actual revenue that we bring in normally compared to the month previous and from the year before, which is a big hit. It's hard to sustain that, obviously, when you have to kind of recoup as a business, when you still have to pay all the bills. And unfortunately, too, COVID has put everybody in a frenzy, right? Where it's affected every single aspect of the food chain. You know what I mean? So learning how to change, If you want to talk about that, is that something we want to talk about? Like how we've changed here in our way we kind of adapted to the situation. You know what I mean? Everything has changed. You know, everything from the way we behave, the way we sanitize, having to have human shields. You know what I mean? In case somebody coughs, to protect the employee actually. And this is kind of, you're seeing this as a new norm, right? It keeps you safe. It keeps you a little bit more confident. You can be in the area, keeping it 6 feet apart. Everything from cleaning utensils, 70% alcohol, gloves, face masks. You know what I mean? All of this is super important, right? Just some ways that we had to change from a cleanliness stance. Not only is it not enough anymore to clean, but you have to be cleanly all the time, right? From the supplements to everything that comes through, right? So that was one. Two, we had to pivot. You know, we had to pivot in society as well as a business, you know, to adapt. Obviously, contactless deliveries, which we did with Foodora. Unfortunately, that's another company that went out of business, right? Delivery service, 40 countries, a business like that, delivery service went out of business, and it's affecting everybody. We needed them as well for deliveries, right? Right, and that's something that's kind of been out of our control. So then we had to pivot again, and you just have to keep adapting because problems are going to always happen, right? And change is required. We all need to change. But with that we're creating our own delivery service, our own online products, creating a website as we speak right now. Going to be published probably by next week. You know what I mean? And that's another way of adapting to the current situation. Not only financially, two, economically, the way we behave, the way we do things. Three, the way we order things. Four, the way society kind of has changed. So there's a lot of changes that had to occur.
So have you noticed homelessness is more evident? Have they been affected more than your average individual?
I think so. Because I think the weather's changing as the environment's changing already as it is. So we are seeing a little bit more homelessness already in the community as well, and we feel bad for them, right? Everybody wants to help them, and you know, as our city kind of has to come together because it's going to be a lot more difficult for a lot of these people to kind of be able to sustain a sort of kind of living, I guess. You know, if they're already on the brinks of becoming homeless. You know what I mean? This might push them over the edge. And why this will push them over the edge is because now all of a sudden you have to survive off CERB even if you do qualify for it. Two, you might not be able to sustain the high prices of condos here in downtown Toronto because they have substantially went up in the last 4 years, right? So if someone was on the brinks of homelessness, I believe this would actually put them over it. And then if we are seeing a little bit more happening in their communities here, it's because obviously it's nicer weather out. And they're not using I know for a fact, I think it's been reported, that they don't want to use the centers, right? They don't want to use the centers because they're overpopulated, everybody's in close quarters. Obviously the things we talk about, there's not a lot of this available where everybody's cleaning themselves, and it's a great way to spread the virus. So, you know what I mean, we're seeing it more in the communities today, especially in downtown Toronto, I think with the tents being set up everywhere. Along in our green areas, what I didn't see last year, we're seeing a little bit more this year. So, you know, my heart goes out to everybody that's lost their home or becoming homeless or as homeless that has to suffer through this as well, because I don't think they're getting looked after as well. I think the city's coming back and kind of working on that. But our community here in Cityplace, for sure, I think is experiencing a little bit more. I think it's becoming more prominent in our community here, where we're seeing a lot more of it. Yeah.
You mentioned something about if you're on the brinks of being homeless, this could have pushed you over the edge.
Yes, let me elaborate a little bit on that. Actually, is what I meant by that is that, like, okay, so yes, there's things in place, you know, that for every person, like, you can't get evicted. There's these landlord laws and stuff, but that doesn't mean a deferred payment doesn't have to get paid back. So you're causing a lot of strain on the human and on the society, because it's not like it got frozen, cut out, and shifted to the end of a term. Which everybody kind of benefits. You're literally responsible for that still payment being referred, which you're gonna get taxed on, and you still gotta pay it back. Meanwhile, you might not have the job waiting for you. You might not have your income that you're making before as well. So you're coming back into an environment where you're already behind, and now you're gonna be behind more. If you can't bounce back from that, that's kind of what I meant from that. So if you're close to being there, this will definitely give you a little push to get over it to the next hump. You know, just because you're protected for 4, 5, 6 months, are we looking at long term? Are we looking at what's going to happen 8, 9 months? What are we going to do for communities so we don't, you know, promote the homelessness? Because no one should be homeless. Everybody should be able to afford something, food, place, the necessities, the needs, not the wants, right? And that's a big one.
It'll be
So
very difficult to pay back those lump sum, and we got
society.
What are we going to do about it is the question.
That's right. Society and life will be different as we know it. You know what I mean? And we're just going to have to adapt again. The word adapt is going to come back. Adapt is going to be a huge thing. We all have to adapt, either from our income to the way we live, to the way we behave, the way we socially socialize with everybody. Everything's going to be affected, right? Even Cityplace as a community is affected, right? Where all of this, we are known as a very vibrant community where it's lit up. People are out having fun, walking their dogs, going to grab your coffee, coming in for your protein shake, the little chit chat. It's all being affected, where people can't hang around at my store anymore as long, right? Because we're all affected now by timing. So that's a big thing, you know what I mean? So that, going back to even flowing to the other question, everything has changed. Even people that come to my store, I sometimes have to tell them, hey, listen, there's people waiting outside right now, like a gentleman right now. Let's get a little shot of him.
I did.
Yeah, we get a little shot of him, and that's the new COVID formula, right? Everybody have to wait outside, social distancing, and then let's just let them back in, and we'll continue right away.
Your store is the center of immunity in the community.
Yes.
How has this whole quarantine affected how you
how am I presenting?
how you react to it, how you present it,
100%. I'm actually super excited you asked that, because we are deemed as essential service, and I'm glad people are starting to realize is that, you know, a supplement store is not just sports nutrition. It's actually taking care of ourselves. It's taking care of our bodies. We are what we eat. We are what that animal ate, or that source was. But we also have to realize is how important immunity is, and our immune systems, how they're designed to actually function. You already know, because you come in here for your immunity boost shake every single day, and you already know how good you feel, right? You're outperforming yourself, which is amazing. But we got to realize is that supplements, they're not always the end goal for immunity. There's so many other things. The way we eat is one, right? It's what we put in our bodies. They're the raw materials that our actually body needs and requires and wants. It desires them every day to function properly, and to be able to build up a strong immune system without the raw materials, such as healthy diets. You know, our hygiene, the way we sleep. Our sleep hygiene is huge. The way we kind of carry ourselves every single day is going to affect the way we are as humans, right? So going back to supplements, you know, the things that can boost natural collagen. You can take care of your gut. Is your gut health in check? So maybe you need to up your glutamine and your collagen. Maybe you need to get vitamin C in your diet because you're not eating enough. So maybe you need a supplement, which will boost natural immune systems. What do we take every day? Come on, what's our shot? That's the shot.
Oil of oregano, but what else is that other stuff?
And black seed. Because black seed, those are virus killers, you know what I mean? And they're going to boost your natural immune system. It's just going back to our ancestral times, how we used herbs and medicine to heal ourselves naturally, right?
Lemon and ginger would be nice on that.
Why not, right? A little lemon, a little ginger, a little spice in there. Why not? It will fix a lot of things that we...
What are the opportunities you see coming out of this pandemic?
So... I think the saying goes, you know, amazing things come from times of disparity and the situations that we were put in as a human race. I think we've evolved. See, there's a lot of pros and cons to a lot of these things. As a business, you know, it's made me think differently, right? Creating a delivery service. making sure that I can, adapt to the environment that we've been given, where everybody's quarantined and not allowing, come outside. So how do you deliver your service, your product to another person? Well, shit, you have to create a delivery service. And in this case, we tried, we've attempted, we failed. Some of it hasn't been in our hands, where companies have folded because of COVID, such as Fedora, unfortunately, great company. But that made us pivot again, going back to our earlier question, and now we are going online as a store, where before maybe I would have never had the desire, or maybe it would have taken me a little longer to get there. So it's not that, we should, look at any situation such as COVID or anything bad that happens in our lives as like, oh my God, it's the end all be all, like we're done. It's basically, how do I adapt? How do I change? How can I make things better? If it's not from your social life, from your business life, from the way you think as a human, it encompasses everybody and everything, right? And then, so there's great opportunity, right? It's basically like fertilizer, beautiful things are gonna grow. So we're put into this, quote, shitty environment where you can't go hang out with a friend, your business is going bankrupt, your sales are down by 75, 70, 60%, 50%. What that is to me, shit. But what happens out of that? Beautiful things can grow, right? We refertilize, and what's beautiful too as well, look at our environment. You've touched upon that when you came in. Look what's happening in Italy. Look what's happening in our environment. Things are kind of, it's like, is it Mother's Nature way of resetting itself, where less pollution, people are socializing more. Now that we're seeing not socializing physically, but maybe now you're more inclined to call your mom, to call your cousin, to call your friend, because you see the importance of having that human connection, you know what I mean? And maybe we needed this, you know what I mean, to kind of refocus ourselves, what is more important, right? Or what's more important, right? And to me, more important is the needs, social gatherings, love, relationships, versus the go materialistic world that we live in. And it's the pressure that's putting on our mental state and our mental health, causing mental illness. You know what I mean? Because you have the social media platforms and everything else, which are great because we're doing things like this and we get to expose and express ourselves, but at the same time, are we sucked into it, and are we being brought down a different path that might not be healthy for the mind? You know what I mean? And to encompass all of this, again, the mind is a beautiful thing, and you gotta respect the mind. So it's not just the food that we put in our bodies, it is the way we behave, the way we socialize, and what does all that do? This is our control center, our gut, but it controls our mind. And our mind has to be healthy so we can be healthy. Everything from mental health to aspirations to ambitions to recovery, to decision making, everything. And the mind has to be respected, and that's one thing that we kind of we let go as a society, because we do what we're told, and a lot of people don't know how to kind of think for themselves and to be able to adapt, and that's called a strong mind, right? And there's food for the mind, and then we got to respect that. So with everything being said, I'm glad that you came in and we talked about it, because we talk about this all the time. You know what I mean? And as a business, yeah, you know what? It sucks, but I'm looking at it as a bright new start. New things are going to happen. Communities are going to come together. We're in spring. Things are going to blossom. We're going to get back to hockey soon, and it's just going to be a great time. You know what I mean? So that's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you for coming by. We're going to hand you some hand sanitizer. Be safe. This is not a joke either, right? We do want to sanitize. So boom, Tavos, great Canadian brand. Check these guys out. Boom, we might have these here at the store. Hand sanitizer, single packets.
Thank you very much.
No
This will
problem.
come in handy
It's
in these times.
contact.
I appreciate it.
Goodbye.
Gus Kastanis coming to you from Cityplace Residents Association. How are you staying sane? Be smart, be healthy, be happy. Thank you very much.